and you can quote this on me. There is no way the Orioles or Red Sox make the playoffs this season. Yeah, there's no way. There's no way.
I set the bar really low at the NBA predictions.
I don't think all Mavs fans look into the stats like I do.
It's not the great value Target brand toilet paper or whatever. It's the Charmin Ultra Strong.
I don't know if Nick Nurse is the coach for the Raptors. I don't know if he's the reason why they won the 2019 championship. I feel like that was more of a team effort.
The Mavs cannot say we do not miss Seth Curry shooting threes.
This questions the firing of Dwayne Casey, who I think is a very underrated coach.
To me, the Capitals really pushed all their chips for this season.
Hello, I'm Mike Grimes, and you've been listening to Outsiders Opinions with Kevin and Austin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our NBA Opinions of the Week. I'm Kevin. I'm joined by the man that I think this was surprising. Jamahl Mosley getting fired.
Yeah, I don't think it's that surprising in my opinion because they were already kind of having downturns at the end of the year. And I know they were an 8 seed, but during the season, they were not viewed by many as an 8 seed. They probably should have finished at least as a 6 seed because of the Hawks situation there. And they end up in a situation where they're up 3-1 in the series. Paolo has a couple good games. Franz gets hurt. And Mosley, who was on his way out, now looks like he's going to be the head coach at least for another series. But then obviously they lose the last 3 games. And I think this is a decent decision, but I don't think Mosley's a bad head coach. I think this was just – I don't think they necessarily fit each other well, but I don't think this is a crazy decision by the Magic, especially after the ending that they had. They expect to have some success with the team that they've kind of gained, but obviously – it's not going to be a clean route to contending in any conference.
Yeah, and this is where, to me, what I liked about it was kind of he joined the Magic in 2021, and then it was kind of that rebuilding phase, and now they've reached kind of this point where they're a contender. And yes, the last 3 years they've lost in the first round, but I think it was this is kind of a guy you expect to build your team with. So I understand your point of going like, okay, it was time, and you could see that argument, but I just don't know how many other good coaches there are, because I think Mosley will get hired soon. Like, what coach? Like, what? I think you bring an experienced coach, correct? Right?
I could see you going either way because a lot of their guys are young, so I could see you going young even though you're trying to go to the playoffs. I mean, I could see you going. Like, I know this is not necessarily like Steve Kerr was older when he got hired by the Warriors. I know the Warriors are a crazy comparison because obviously they won a lot of titles, but I think that you could see them go with the guy that's not been a head coach before, but has some NBA experience because his team is still really young. And I always find it funny with how some people would take to this question, what comes first, like the chicken or the egg, because do you see a coach that you want to hire and then fire Jamahl Mosley? Or do you decide you want to fire Jamahl Mosley and then try to find a head coach?
That's true. I think in this case, it was we want to fire Jamahl Mosley. Because I
agree, but what I'm saying is that the right decision always?
No. I think you should have an idea of like, okay, this is what I want.
Is that right for the head coach though to look for his replacement while he's hired?
No, that gets bad. Like if they're like, I'm gonna feel like a bad person if I'm doing that.
Well, yeah,
you have to have some type of plan, especially in this NBA.
True, but I don't know if you need one immediately, and that's why I think firing him right after the season gives you enough time to find a guy before the draft. And you really don't even need to find one before the draft because the GM's going to make most of the picks. You really need to find one before like August, before preseason.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think a coach is incredibly important to the draft.
And I think that it'll help you structure the type of coach you actually want in a lot of ways.
Yeah, because you talk to the coach, be like, what do you think of this roster? And it's like, well, I don't like this. Well, you're gone.
Or how would you use these players? Or how would you use
how would you use them? Yeah. Because I think the Magic have changed with Mosley, and I think this is kind of a big year when they kind of showed their intention to go big with that Desmond Bain trade.
And Bain played really well. I mean, he averaged
Yeah.
18 in the playoffs. He averaged over 20 points per game this season in the regular season, shooting 48% from the field. Obviously, Franz needs to stay healthy. Suggs needs to stay healthy. Paolo missed a little bit of time with injuries. But Bain played 82 games this year. I mean, I don't know. He played 82 games this year and averaged over 20 points. There's nothing more that I really would have expected out of that trade. So now it's just building the rest of the roster to be competent.
Yeah, and I think a new voice, I can understand the point for a new voice, but I would have given it one more year because this is the first year with Bain, and I understand that pressure, but give Mosley another year to figure it out.
The only reason why I'll push back is because of how weak the East is, and I think it's important to strike while the iron's hot. And I think that it's an East that we don't know how long it's going to be this uncompetitive. And I shouldn't even say uncompetitive. I should say competitive. How the parity is so high. Maybe the teams are not all final team quality, but they all have a chance to make the finals. And because of that, you want to make sure that you're as good as possible, as soon as possible, if you are a playoff caliber team. Obviously, the Bulls, the Wizards, the Nets have a different timeline for things. But for the teams that are already playoff-worthy teams, even in teams including the Hornets, you want to be good as fast as possible. Because I don't think there's an expectation next year that Tyrese Halliburton's the player that he was before his injury, even though Tatum did come back and was extremely good. Yes, Boston looks very good next year, but they've had some injury concerns, and I don't know necessarily how they're going to build this roster next year. So I think you don't want to wait too long, because if you're in the East, you always have a chance of winning or going to the finals. And like I said 1,000 times, if you get in the finals, anything can happen. I mean, we've seen that in every sport. So I think if you're a Western Conference team, that may be a different conversation, where I do say you probably wait another year. But in this case, I understand it, because I would be a little bit more desperate to find the right guy immediately because of the situation that the conference is in overall.
You make a good point. To me, feel like Mosley would have gotten it done, and to kind of have that success, I think we'll have to see what happens with him. I think he does get another head coaching offer and could be coaching next year. But I'm very curious to see how the Magic approach it, because of what you said. This does show we want to win now, especially after them trading Bain and wanting to get past the first round.
Yep.
So let us know your thoughts in the comments. We appreciate you listening to Outsiders Opinions.